Good afternoon, everyone. India is beyond assertive that artificial intelligence will transform the economy. Multiple industry estimates that in the year 2025 to 2030, AI will nearly contribute 450 to 500 billion to India's GDP. The real opportunity before us is this: how do we build and how do we ensure that every child, every educator, and every school, including those in rural and border districts, participates in this Herculean transformation? India has over 250 million school-going children. Nearly 65% of our population lives in rural areas. If AI literacy is concentrated only in metropolitan clusters, we do not unlock our demographic dividend, we constrain it. But if we integrate rural and border districts into the AI ecosystem, we unlock a scale that no other nation possesses. AI literacy is no longer enrichment. It is foundational economic infrastructure as critical as electricity and broadband. Ethical AI is not a compliance layer anymore. It is what ensures trust, safety, and long-term societal stability as AI adoption accelerates. In this session today, we have our expert panel that will discuss teacher capacity is not a peripheral variable. CSR is not merely a short-term goal to be achieved. And with over 9 million teachers across India, educators are the single largest institutional lever for equitable AI adoption. We already have the policy architecture for NEP 2020, which prioritizes experiential learning and computational thinking. Digital India has expanded connectivity to lakhs of villages across our country. Government programs such as PM Shri and Samagra Shiksha provide implementation pathways. The next step is integration. As we equip students in border villages with AI literacy, critical thinking, data reasoning, ethical understanding, we are not just preparing them for jobs, we are preparing them for leadership in the digital economy. Please welcome the panelists which are with me today. We have Chola Devanji, who's the CSR lead for APAC BMC software. I have with me Meenakshi, who's the director for Pedagogics, and we have Mr. Arun Poddarji, director, Piramal Foundation. Okay, Meenakshi, my first question is to you. When we speak about democratizing access to rural belts, and we are talking about AI, teacher capacity building, how do you think you would align the content of AI or disruptive technologies to reach these rural borders of our country, students and educators both?
Thank you, Payal. First of all, I think, Payal, you set up beautiful context by saying there is a wide variation in the abilities, capabilities, or resources that are available across the country. So one size fits all doesn't work. At Pedagogics, we work with three primary principles. One, people first. We need to know who these teachers are, which the geographical region is, what are the resources that are available to them, how can we approach or serve them the best, in the sense that, if I give you a simple example, when we meet teachers, we don't talk about what is AI or what is AI curriculum. We need to get to know them better. We need to get to know their needs better. Therefore, we bring in the problem statements. What problem are we solving for? is the first thing that we want to know, get to know. And by and large, what we hear are simple problems. They are not the big words that we read in NEP 2020 or NCF. What we hear from them is, I want to engage my students better. I want them to understand a complex topic in a very simple manner. So those are small problems they are solving. So from here, we take them to purpose-driven learning. So what is it that you're trying to do by using AI? Please find your purpose. In a room full of 100 teachers, we cannot just offload to say, hey, here's Copilot, let's start using it. What we need to do is understand why they need that, where in their own classrooms, for their own students, for their own teaching learning, for their own capacity building, do they need that? So it's a purpose that we identify next. And of course, no classroom has ever been successful without pedagogy. So it's a pedagogy-led approach where the strengthening is required. Teachers are masters of the content. We know, they know what to teach, right? They are the subject matter experts, and we must respect that. We can never ever say that, we need to tell teachers how to teach. No, what to teach. We need to help them with how, probably. They want to bring learning closer to the student. How is it going to happen? So if we take these three principles, I think these are the three overarching principles which we then tailor-make to be able to reach out to every audience to say, once you know that you have a need for AI, now let's talk about what's AI. How can you realize, or how can you bring to cognition that I'm already using AI? So if I use it for a personal purpose, how about using it for a professional purpose? So that's the roadmap that we lay out in front of them. And probably every story unfolds in a different manner in every room that we have spoken to, because no two learners are alike. Yeah.
Thank you. And beautifully put about the Microsoft Copilot, and, slowly we are realizing that the teachers should be told that AI जो है, वो आपका साथी है, competitor नहीं है. AI जो है आपको हर चीज़ में, assessment है, lesson planning में, उसमें मदद करेगा. It will not take the teachers out. Robots and AI will not replace the jobs, but it will only enhance it. So coming to my next question, when we talk about pedagogical adaptation of AI into the government schools, be it in rural areas or semi-urban areas, what would you say could be the top or a few areas of development that the government schools or the stakeholders should engage in?
Thank you. I think the first thing that I want to lay out here is building on what you just said. Using Copilot for a lesson plan would be a very baseline usage. Any room you enter and you ask, have you ever used a generative AI for any purpose? The first response that you get is, हम lesson plan बनाते हैं और questions design करते हैं. That's the most popular usage, but it's not limited to just that. Having said that, with Copilot, what we are looking at is not just creating a lesson plan, but with NEP on top, we have, I think, learning outcome-based lesson plan. That's the need of the hour. Teachers in every part of the country have heard about it, but for that to become a reality, Copilot has this beautiful piece that has been trained on education and has already preloaded NCRT learning outcomes. So when the teachers get to actually define a learning outcome to their chapter, whether it's a chapter on photosynthesis rolling out of Gujarat or Telangana or Orissa or Assam, it'll have a different flavor, because it'll have a teacher's flavor in it, it'll have the regional flavor, it'll have a cultural flavor. That's what they like. It's not just a lesson plan which is so generic that you just have to go and apply it to your classroom. No teacher ever has picked up a lesson plan to teach just like that. They have adapted it, and that adaptation, I believe, is something that we need to bring out. And as far as pedagogy, what you spoke about, I think about the pedagogy, the most important thing is that we need to bring down the complex words of competency-based learning, inquiry-based learning, engage them in those, and then say, hey, you know what you just did was inquiry-based learning. I'll give you a very simple example. In our sessions, we engage teachers in a very simple prompt and we say, everybody types the same prompt, which is, it was a dark, stormy night. Now that is an experience itself, that it's an inquiry that you're giving to a generative AI to say, where will it take me? A science, and we just say dot, 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 if you want to enter something that is your subject related, go ahead. Math teacher will add something else, language teacher will add something else. They customize that prompt and they realize no two people got the same response. They were similar, but not same. Number two, they could relate or connect it immediately to their subject. Number three, we start talking about AI's role as a thinker. It's your co-thinker, it's your buddy, it's your co-pilot. Who is the pilot here? Me. So there's no autopilot mode here. It's got to be the co-pilot helping you to think, and you think with co-pilot, not for co-pilot, I would say. Or you don't just offload yourself to co-pilot to say, hey, make me this and I'll take it to the classroom. It doesn't happen that way. Yeah.
Thank you for putting it out there. I think it's so important for the NEP 2020 being aligned with all that information which is out there. Just last week, we were in one of the government schools in a rural areas, and I asked the teacher कि आप AI use करते हैं? And she said, हाँ हम सब AI use करते हैं. I said, कौन सा tool use करते हैं? ChatGPT की तो AI है. And I was like, that's amazing, because you know how everyone started by saying that इसको Xerox कर दीजिए. Nobody said it's a photocopy. They started using the name. So it's amazing that, the teachers are already using it. And Copilot, having a NEP 2020 prompt helps teachers immensely, because, like I said, there is so much information out there. And if people like us are confused, imagine the teachers who already have access to so much information. Now there's this online, bomb thrown at them as well. So yes, thank you for that. Moving on to you, Podarji. I understand Piramal Foundation works in the most critical, hardest of geographic demographics areas, right? And it's fantastic how palpatably it is done. My question to you is, when I ask you about your challenges of implementing AI, STEM education, disruptive technologies, robotics into these demographics, which is equally important to, like we say, if we need to be the next AI superpower, we have to reach to the grassroots levels. So what would be the top challenges that you have faced? And if you could also tell us, what are you doing to solve them? So it also becomes a knowledge sharing for the audience offline and online. Thank you.
Thank you for the... Hello. Thank you for the question. And I would first like to give an introduction, as you know, what Piramal Foundation is really doing. Basically, we work with government schools at the remotest of locations, especially if you have heard about aspirational districts. So where things are very, very different from a district which is not an aspirational. So where the human index is at the lowest level. So working there is, it makes a lot of experiences that I can share, is that there is a lot more that we have to do for these locations. And there are many of them in this country. And these are the districts that are actually pulling down the India's development because the maximum resources, maximum capital is being invested there to bring it up. And therefore, if we can bring these districts up to a level of from an aspirational to an inspirational district, India will change. The entire complexion of India's growth will be reflecting its much better case. So coming back to the question here, with that background, it's a big challenge, and it's also a big hope for us to, with AI as a technology, to speed up this development in these aspirational districts. So these districts have schools which are far off. There are basic challenges, the basic infrastructure, the basic, when I say basic infrastructure, the school infrastructure, not the digital infrastructure. The classroom, the toilet, the water, the, absolute safety of the children. Schools are not walled. So I'm not getting into that. So then comes the digital infrastructure. So that's something where I think AI can play a very big role in creating an atmosphere of positivity with the teachers there. Now, imagine a teacher sitting in a remote block of Samastipur in Bihar who is not being accessed by the district education officer also. Now, this is one fantastic opportunity where not only that the district education officer can have a chat with this teacher on a daily basis, on a regular basis, and the chat GPT, and every government is having their own digital command center, and that is creating a lot of comfort among the teachers. And the challenges are there that the first challenge that I see about from the basic infrastructure is the human capital, human capital and the maintenance. So government is investing on digital classes. Believe me, most of the classes when I visited, sir, वो computer ना खराब हो गया, कोई आते नहीं है repair करने. So what about the maintenance? So government is doing a lot, and I think where it comes to now is getting the message from down, bottom up to the last person who takes the decision. AI will play a very important role. So these are the challenges that I see more of, not looking at the challenges what AI, to implement AI, but to create the foundation for AI to be, working out in these borderland districts and the schools. So we talk about specialized teachers. These are 90% of these border schools are single teacher schools. Now the teacher is the headmaster, the teacher is the classroom thing. What do you do there? So I'm giving you the extremes. There are not so much of a challenge in many schools, but when you talk about border schools, these are the challenges. These teachers, if they are given slight nudge, you extend the hand, they will happily grab you. They're they're hungry to be, fed with knowledge, informations. And I think these, if we can tap it in a right way, I think we'll see so much good happening in these schools, so much responsibility among the teachers, and the willingness to learn is tremendous. They have done wonders once you appreciated their work, once you started communicating with them, and making AI as a friend and assisting tool, rather than creating that fear of, replacing them or monitoring them. So I think these are the challenges that we have to be more of a mental challenges that we have to work on.
True, and like you said, Podarji, I agree that we have a long way to go. We are talking about challenges in implementing AI and STEM education or infrastructure. However, what also prevails as a pretext to that is not digital infra, but actual infra. So there is a long way to go. Coming to my next question, while we were speaking about infra, how do you think we can achieve, a cognitive and problem-solving, goal-oriented approach while keeping the digital infra not so heavy, while keeping it as a learning light kind of model?
So I think going straight to the answer is, creating offline courses is very important. And we already have a lot of, apps which are meant for education, are meant for teachers training and building up teachers' capacity, like the Diksha app. So let's not reinvent the wheel again, because let's create the foundation with the apps and the software that is already available. which are offline, which can be operating, which has the beauty of addressing the language barriers, which is very, very important in these border states schools. Converting the language from English Hindi, not everybody speaks English Hindi there. There's a local dialect there. How do you overcome that dialect and make it more meaningful for the students there and the teacher there? And I think these apps such as Diksha, Savian, ALT, these apps to be, basically make it popular at first level, and then slowly giving them the feel of the AI, the technology, and then introduce the new systems which are heavy on technology. Maybe by then we may get ready with the infra more, and I think teachers to use them as a coach and mentor is more important. So teachers, and I have my experience of 11 years, these teachers, when they are supported with, content, supported as how to implement AI, or even just building classroom practices, we have seen them picking up so fast and so well that it really brings out a massive change and growth in the students' learning outcome. So I think that matter has been proved, that giving them a little support, a nudge, and being next to them, the teachers really flourish in there. And they actually find the purpose of their existence. That I'm a teacher and every child is important and every child needs to be learning. So that is the feeling that they start getting once you start working along with them, supporting them, addressing their issues or daily issues. And AI is one that can, maximize their entire daily operation, in whether it is preparing their lesson plans, whether making attendance and midday meal data, not a paper filling exercise, but an automated exercise. So I think this extends the leverage of the teacher to spend more quality time in the classroom. And that's what they want to do. That's what they love to do. And therefore, what they love to do is where the technology brings in. And I think that's the connect that we need to build in.
So I think I'll just add to what you've just said from our experiences in the classroom. When you go and meet these teachers, what you see is that, हाँ पता तो था पढ़ाना ऐसे है, लेकिन इतना सब कुछ हो जाएगा ऐसा सोचा नहीं था. अभी जब AI ने बताया तो हम ज़रूर try करेंगे. So that in itself is so encouraging to hear. And one of our, teachers, I still can't forget him, the excitement that he had, because he had a whole lesson plan with so many ideas and pedagogies. He said, ऐसा लगा जैसे शक्ल बूम बूम का छड़ी मिल गया है, तो कुछ भी possible है. So that's the excitement that we are seeing amongst teachers.
True. And, I also feel that when we talk about the rural demographics, I often feel that there is less noise there. There are fewer distractions. And the fire to do more stems from the issues or, the obstacles that they face in day-to-day life that does not prevail in the urban areas. When we talk about, I just said in my opening remarks, that we should talk about AI as electricity. But then that basic electricity is also refrained for only a few hours. And they have only that stipulated time to make things happen. I think that's where the fire stems from. We've seen, I think our Honorable Prime Minister, when he met the 30, 40, top edtech, AI innovators, startups or companies, 95% of them came from tier 3 to tier 2 cities, where the need actually comes from. So yes, moving on to our next panelist. She is not only one of the, sought after CSR leaders, but like we say that a public-private partnership always works. We know that the government is doing a lot of work when it comes to digital or infrastructure in education. However, it's so imperative to have a corporate social responsibility angle to it as well. So coming to Chola, I understand that, CSR, slowly, like if I talk about 20, 25 years ago, it was very equipment heavy in terms of, let's distribute this to, the government schools. Let's distribute this to government hospitals. And from that, it's come to the capacity and capability infrastructure. So my question to Chola is that when we look at long-term institutional capacity of a company like yours, BMC Software, into AI or disruptive technologies, what do you think your plan is? And we would love to hear what is it that you guys are doing, because you guys are doing some Herculean work. We've been associated for you with half a decade, and you yourself are, one of the champions and leaders of passion when it comes to corporate social responsibility. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Payal. And I would love to start by saying truly powerful conversations going on here. Truly privileged to be part of this. But yes, that said, that really requires fundamental shift. I agree that CSR must evolve from short-term intervention tools to long-term capability building instruments. Writing a check for an event is easy. What is harder is building a sustained ecosystem, but that is far more meaningful. I will give you a few examples. One of the partnerships that I would like to highlight here is our partnership with Robotics India and Robotics International. And we did not just approach it as one-time sponsorship of, let's say, international competition that is happening. We took initiatives like Girls Who Build Robots, and through such initiatives, we encourage small girls to enter the STEM field. And when we say enter STEM field, it is not just about building, learning to assemble robots. It is far more than that. It is building technical confidence at that formative age. Also, taking an example of the STEM robotics labs, the labs that we have built in rural schools or Zira Parishad schools, the goal was to ensure hands-on infrastructure. When we build labs, we build continuity, and when we build continuity, we build future engineers, coders, innovators. So that is the shift that is needed from, let's say, event-based visibility to ecosystem-based transformation. Another prime example is our partnership with Pimpri Chinchwad Municipal Corporation and Divyang Bhavan Foundation, wherein we have built a state-of-the-art inclusive library which is accessible to public and which houses all the smart tools. And it is for years to use for the common public. So I think that is what we aim at. And the question that we should be asking is, are we building capability or are we just running a program? And specifically in context of rural areas, the rural AI skilling, I understand that it requires mapping, a very specific mapping in terms of regional economic needs.
Thank you for that. And like I said earlier, that you are the champion when it comes to being passionate about the CSR programs, and it's amazing to see the amount of impact that you guys as BMC Software has created, which is in thousands and in varied areas, from medical education to empowering women. My next question to you talks about a roadmap. What, according to you, is a 5-year roadmap for rural AI development from an industry standpoint? And because we obviously have Pedagogics here, which is a GTP with Microsoft. That's one of the hats that they wear. We have Podarji from Piramal Foundation working in the deep demographics of the country like aspirational blocks, and then we have you as a CSR lead for BMC software. So from an industry standpoint is where this question stems. When we talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about economic standpoint, we talk about employability. What is the industry standpoint for a rural AI map according to you?
I think this is a great question, and for me, three priorities stand out. First, access must be foundational. Whether it is hardware, connectivity, or let's say teacher training, these are essential. These are not optional, these are essential. Second, we very rightly pointed out about the urban bias. How do we avoid the urban bias in policies and curriculums that we build over the years? And the sustainability part of it is how long-term the partnerships are. So we often measure success by some of the criterias. Let me give an example. Let's say how many students attended a program. But ethical AI would actually require us to ask deeper questions. How many girl students continued in the STEM pathway? Another question that we can ask is, how many teachers felt confident in delivering the tech curriculum that we have built for them? And I think the third and very important question is, did the participation increase from rural and underserved communities? So these are three major questions. Of course, AI will shape the future economy, and it will shape the next century of, let's say, future mobility, economic mobility. But the question is not whether the rural communities will be affected by AI. They will. The real question is whether they'll participate in shaping it. So that's where we come, and I understand that rural communities, if they are part of the AI value chain, the AI will definitely be a force for a social good.
Thank you, Chola. And I think I fully agree with you that when you benefit the rural demographics of a country, it helps in shaping it into possessing the most worldly powers that we were unaware of. So moving on to a common question for all of you, stemming from an objective of policy alignment, governance, funding, and pedagogy. That's the objective of this question, and anyone can go in whichever order. So if India must prioritize one structural shift for ethical AI deployment in underdeserved regions, teacher capacity building, infrastructure, governance frameworks, or ecosystem partnerships, which would you choose and why?
I think, that's a great question. I'm going to give a very simple and short answer. For me, it is teacher capacity building. Educators are the multiplier effects. And when, AI will shape the future of work. That's what we keep saying. But when we understand that when educators understand AI, not only how to use it, but how to question it, how to critique it, and let's say how to guide it responsibly, the students are going to become creators and not only consumers of it. So yes, for me it is teacher capacity. Thank you.
I think you just added, I'll add to what you've just said. That was on my mind. There is no other way to make it happen. It has to be capacity building, respecting that the teachers are already experts, not considering that they need to be taught. No, please, let's just throw that out of the window. They are already experts. They just need to have an idea about what else is possible. And as far as ethical, considerations that you're talking about, I've always said this and believed in this. Ethics are not just taught for AI or technology. Ethics are a way of life. And I think in every sphere, we have to be ethical, whether you're walking on a road, sitting and eating with someone, or in a classroom or outside without me as well. ethics are a way of life. So definitely they need to be a part of your capacity building program. But we don't need to pause to teach. I believe they should be ingrained as an overarching value that we have.
So I don't differ from the ladies who just spoke about capacity of teachers. I just like to add that it's just not capacity of teachers, but capacity of teacher in also to include community participation. It's a very important thing for the teachers to lead as a leader, work as a the community leader, to make sure that they have community participation also. So just example, a live example I would like to share some data here is, there are, the social department, the ministry, have 4 big scholarships for girls, and just the state of Bihar that we are working on this particular area of scholarship is that when we started the work, the baseline was year 2022-23, it was minus. It was 0 scholarship disbursed. 23-24, only for 30% scholarship was disbursed. Last year, we closed 100% disbursement of scholarship. 48,000 primary school girls in special category has been received their scholarship. Now, it's why and how. It's because of the leadership of the teachers with the help of technology. We could cut down 27 steps that were initially being taken through one single app, where the child is recognized through the app, face reading, and entire data is transmitted, and multiple face reading or data sending is not required. Only Aadhaar card linking, which is again linked to the bank. It is a simple step, but it took so many long years. But the process is being done through technology, and 100% disbursement in the pre-matric curriculum. Now we are taking it to the post-matric. How do we take this same thing to the post-matric so that... So what is happening is the droppage, out of school dropouts of girl students is become 0, nearly 0, because of this economical support. Okay. The Bihar government was so happy that it was X, they made it 2X because when they saw the data that 100% girls are coming to school. 80% girls have now matured to the post-matric and they are continuing education. So the entire poverty, multiple poverty line has been taken care of with one scholarship, that now there is the child marriage has dropped significantly. It has not come to 0, to be honest, but it has significantly dropped because of one thing. And who has done this? The teacher. So teacher capacity not only into the classroom practices, as a community leader, and including the community as partnering the community, participation of community is the way forward. And I feel, in short, the headmaster or the teacher has to play a much bigger role than a classroom, as a classroom instructor, and rather the community mobilizer. Thank you.
I think when we hear and read about these kind of statistics is what gives us inspiration and motivation to do more, because working in the areas that we work in, which is for societal good, stems more from passion than actual work talk. And I think the question's answer is quite unanimous. It's teacher capacity building, and then everything else from ecosystem, governance, infrastructure, pedagogy falls into place when we have that one goal achieved. Moving to the next common question that I have for all of you is that when we talk about policy or design, what is that one or two pitfall that India should refrain from while scaling AI across rural border districts? And I would sort of ask this question mainly from a education standpoint. So yeah.
I think one of the biggest pitfalls is we focus on technology deployment, infrastructure availability. And in our experience, what we have found, at least in the recent times, what we have done, we've found that every teacher already has a mobile phone. So if you can get me an app on that, the infrastructural, I think, challenges come down. So our focus shifts from technology deployment to technology adoption. I think that's one change that I would definitely look forward to.
Yeah, I think, technology is, and AI particularly is such that, a high-fee private school in Delhi, a classroom experience in a high-fee private school in Delhi, the same experience can be taken to a remote district of Bihar, Orissa, or Assam. So that's the beauty of AI. And that means that it is, the technology can do those magic and create that inclusive culture in India. So, breaking the barrier of language, breaking the barrier of basic infrastructure or digital infrastructure, I think it just can create wonders with AI, and therefore it is adoptive only when they see that they are experiencing that beauty in it by making sure that they can do much more than what they were doing before. So I think that is the sweetness, or that is the sweet pie that the teachers get out of when they see that मैं पहले भी 8 घंटा काम करता था, 2 ही काम में फंसा रहता हूँ, अभी मैं 8 घंटा में सारे काम खत्म करके and to highest order level of order. So therefore, lot of things like gamification is one way of improving, creating curriculum, and self-assessment, where students can do their own learning and correcting themselves. We had launched post-COVID, we had launched the Google Bolo app, which later became Read Along. You believe me, how children at the foundation level grab that opportunity to learn from a simple smartphone, and technology anyway or a smartphone was anyway a big catch for them, and we made their parents to hand over the smartphone for an hour to them, and 80% of every student, 80% of the downloads that we had for Read Along had reached the optimum level. The levels, it was level-based learning. 80% have reached that optimum level. So technology and the love for technology for the Indian kids are huge. How do we optimize it to the best use? Because it can again go the other way. It can go to the wrong way also. But I think that's the guidance and that's the governance that we need to build up.
I think I agree. There is nothing more that I want to add here, but some beautiful examples that I would like to share here is how fostering inclusive technology or inclusive AI is so important. And of course, one of the basic things that we should start with is the matrices that we introduce. What kind of matrices that we should look at? We should look at the equity matrix. We should look at the employability part of it. And of course, economic mobility. But that said, there are certain students, I would like to quote their names here, who are from government students, government schools from Pune, who never went out of the district. Their families never went out of the district. They have reached Estonia and won the podium position in Estonia. So that is the beautiful example of what my fellow panelists just said.
Thank you. And like I said that, the more stories we hear, the more heartening it gets in terms of inspiration and motivation to do more. I think my last question for my dear panelists here today is that one decisive action that your institution will commit to or pledge in the next 12 months to advance rural AI access, and what would that be?
For me, again, enabling the educators, that is very important, and enabling educators through rural AI ecosystem. That is what we should focus on. Again, that said, they being the multiplier effect, and how digital accessibility is important, digital intervention is important at this stage. But yes, enabling educators and strengthening through the CSR infrastructure, let's say funding the CSR projects like AI open source labs in rural schools, certification programs for the teachers, sponsoring those certification programs for the teachers, that will play a good role here. Yeah.
So, well, it's a pledge, or the promise that we talk about. I think at Pedagogics we are committed to helping teachers build capacity. We've partnered with Piramal Foundation and Microsoft, and as a part of the Microsoft Elevate program, we're bringing access to Microsoft licenses so that teachers can work with confidence in a safe and secure environment, an environment where they can build what they want to build in the direction that they want to take it. So basically democratizing, AI for them and building with them rather than for them is what we would want. Definitely a people first. I'm going to repeat myself, but people first. I think purpose-driven and pedagogy-led approach is what we commit to. Thank you.
So my take is again definitely capacity building of teachers who are the sort of the torchbearers of the change that they need to bring out. But the most important part that we definitely conduct is the participation of the government. The government buying is very important because the teacher, after all, is quite concerned about, if I am being already given a task and I better do that, finish my syllabus, rather than going into AI, unless it is approved at the state or the district level. So I think that is a very important procedure that we try to bring in and rope in the government to understand the strategy that we want to involve. So government participation is very important. Their buy-in is very important so that it is sustainable. Because 3 years and 4 years of huge inputs that foundation level, non-for-profits and pedagogy and everybody CSR support is happening, they're not going to stay there for long. If it is not systemized, it is not a conversion into a systemized democratically systemized, then it will be of no use. The sustainability will be at question. So government buy-ins along with capacity building, along with tracking, along with assessment is very, very important. So this is my take here.
Great, thank you. And, while we conclude the session of advancing rural AI access and ethical AI in governance, this was in collaboration with Microsoft India and Robotics India as a prelude to the two large upcoming projects, one being the 300,000 teacher training program for government schools in 3 states for AI, and the second one in collaboration with Pedagogics and Piramal Foundation to build excellence centers in the aspirational blocks, again in 3 states of the country. And while we conclude the session, I would like to reiterate that we have 250 million children that go to school in our country. We have 9 million teachers in this country. And while we accelerate towards a GDP which is anywhere between 450 to 500 billion in the next few years, which is 2030 and ahead. Today's panel discussion had very progressive and enlightening, real when we talk about the real work thoughts, and when we speak about teachers, pedagogy, and AI in education, the first thing that we say is experiential learning, which is nothing but learning by doing. And all my panelists here are the champions of learning by doing, because they work on ground, they work continuously in advancing not just AI, but many other inaccessible tools to the ones that need them the most from the low strata community. So thank you, everybody. It's been an honor. Thank you, panelists. Thank you for your presence and the enlightening thoughts. I'm happy to take a few questions from the audience.
Hello, sir. My name is Rahul. My observation है कि हमारे जो स्कूल के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर हैं वो 19वीं सदी के हैं, और हमारे जो टीचर हैं वो 20वीं सदी के हैं, और हमारे बच्चे हैं 21वीं सदी के हैं. तो हम 20वीं सदी के टीचर से 21वीं सदी के बच्चों को पढ़ा रहे हैं. क्या ये एप्लीकेबल है? क्या हम अपने टीचर को कैपेबल बना पाएंगे? जो हमारा माइंड सेट है, हमारे टीचर 20वीं सदी सेंचुरी के हैं, 20th सेंचुरी के हैं. आपका क्या ऑब्जर्वेशन है?
इसमें तो मैं आपको ये बताना चाहूँगा कि हमारा जो 10 साल का एक्सपीरियंस है, उसमें हमने जो टीचर्स के साथ काम किया है गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स में, प्राइमरी लेवल एंड मिडिल स्कूल्स में, इसमें जो सक्सेस है वो ही है एविडेंस. और एक स्कूल टीचर को जो कैपेसिटी बिल्ड करने में और उसको इंडिपेंडेंटली इनोवेट करने में, क्लासरूम ट्रांजैक्शन में सुधार लाने में और बच्चे को इंक्लूसिव एजुकेशन देने में इतना सक्सेसफुल रहा, आपको मैं डॉक्यूमेंट के साथ दिखा सकता हूं. सो a place like a municipal school in Mumbai, जहाँ पे capacity of the school was 400 students, only 120 students were enrolled. जब हम teachers के साथ काम किया और उनका जो capacity build किया, उनका जो outcome आया, not only 120 बच्चे का learning ability 120% grow किया, which is an assessment by a third party. Today, the school is above capacity and there is a waiting list of a municipal school, waiting list of 100 students. ये है evidence. Definitely, school teachers, if they are nudged, you give them a finger, they'll catch your hand. They are ready to learn. They have the capacity to create wonders once they are supported, appreciated, and made sure that they are, given the opportunity to try their innovation in the classroom. I 100% believe in this, and it is happening. I hope it answers you.
We are running out of time, but we can take one last question. Thank you.
I'll just like to add one comment. ये 19वीं सदी और 20वीं सदी ना हम ही बना रहे हैं. जब आप टीचर से मिलेंगे ना, वहाँ न्यू जनरेशन टीचर्स भी हैं. वो आप ही की तरह नए अच्छे मोबाइल फ़ोन लाकर बोलते हैं हमें कुछ अच्छा सिखाइए ना. मिलके देखिए प्लीज़.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Congratulations on an excellent discussion. And I apologize, I came in late. So my question is to Mr. Poddar. I actually been following development, I write, for the last 35 years. And very, very glad to, and I also love this comment that ethics is not an add-on. It's part of it. I think that's completely, I agree. So my question to you, Mr. Poddar, I did not understand, you kept referring to border schools. So and it's because I think I came in late, I did not understand what your references to were. And secondly, you mentioned that you talked about a remote village school in Samastipur, and they will have the same content as, say, somebody in Delhi or Mumbai. I just wanted to understand how the mechanics works, like AI. So are we saying that the content, let's say through chat GPT, which you mentioned, it will be homogeneous, or will it be, because, you know, there are also, India is very diverse. So for instance, say a child in Kashmir, say a reference to snow, may not be as resonant, say, to a child in Bengal or Tamil Nadu. So I was just wondering how the homogeneity thing works in, because there is also the local reality which will resonate better. So I wanted to understand how does this chat GPT, rural remote school, AI, expanding of your mind, how does this all kick in together? Thank you so much.
So I think that's many questions in not one question. One is that what I mean by border school is that schools that are in bordering area, geographical bordering area. One is in schools that are in Naxalite areas, schools that are in areas which are 6 months flooded, schools there which are 6 months under ice and snow. These are the schools I'm talking about, which I'm saying bordering school. Coming back to your next question is, how can it make it homogeneous? Of course it has to be. That's what I said, language barrier. The technology can convert Hindi, English into the desired language of the child that is sitting in that particular zone or area, so that there is a language, he can convert that entire program, that entire learning in their own language, adaptive language. That's one. Number two is, it has to be customized. It is not one size fit all. It cannot be. Now it has to be customized to the need of that particular age level, class level, subject level basis. You know, so AI can do that customization. And if we do not keep that in mind, that it has to be inclusively designed so that it is catered to everybody in the society, in the geography, in the vicinity, or in the universe. So, you know, if you can have that in mind, technology is possible. Technology can make that happen. So that's what I mean by that. Mean by creating customized program through the technology.
Thank you, Podarji. And I think in light of time and due respect to the next upcoming panel that is coming, we would love to conclude this. But you can add all of us on LinkedIn, send us your questions, put it on the YouTube chat. We'll be very happy to answer those. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank you all to joining this session. Your exit will be in behind right side.
There's a wall.
The persons from Maruti Suzuki, please hold on some time. We have a discussion point on entrance area. Please join their Robotics India. Would like to request from Robotics India Limited, please keep your discussion on entrance area, please.